Horse racing is a multi-billion-dollar industry. When a horse finishes its career, the commonly held notion is that it's put out to pasture, but that's not always the case. It turns out a lot of horses are sold for slaughter and then human consumption. Where is it happening? Well, right here in our state. Connect's producer Jenny Cunningham has the story of one fortunate horse that escaped the butcher's block.
It is the sport of kings, memorialized in movies, which tell the tale of thoroughbreds with names like Seabiscuit, Seattle Slew, and Secretariat. Racehorses who are deeply loved by their owners and who live to a ripe old age in lush green pastures. In reality, what happens to most racehorses is not so pretty.
175. Do you pity 175? If you don't buy it, boys, it's going to slaughter.
He was also covered in wounds, kick marks, hoof-shaped kick marks and bite marks from the other horses at the auction yard.
A few months ago, a horse named Bucky B. Lucky was in an auction feedlot southeast of Seattle. A truck was about to pick him up and haul him to Canada.
It just happened to be that somebody on a Tuesday morning went in to check on a horse that they'd purchased at auction, hadn't moved it yet, and saw this brand new racing groomed horse with brand new racing shoes on in the kill pen, which is where they put the horses that are slated to get shipped off to slaughter.
American horses are shipped to slaughter in Canada and Mexico. Surprising, yes. But no matter how you feel about the idea of eating horse meat, you may be even more surprised to learn that this horse was a prospect. He was only 4 years old. He was a winning racehorse at Emerald Downs Track. When the girl who found him in the kill pen flipped up his lip, this tattoo confirmed he's the grandson of Seattle Slew, the only undefeated Triple Crown winner. How can it be that Seattle Slew's progeny is only worth the meat on his bones? The story of Bucky B. Lucky reveals a disturbing practice in the horse racing business. Unlike other horses which are bred to be lifelong companions, most thoroughbreds are born to run, young.
You look at that and you see a baby horse with the jockey on its back.
At racetracks around the world, the stakes are much higher for the horses than they are for the fans betting in the stands. If their delicate legs splinter, like Bucky's did, a horse can quickly go from winner to dinner.
He went from a nice, cozy stall with personal grooms and people to feed him and being treated like a king to the next day he's standing in the kill pen.
Racing fan Jannette Parrett had literally walked in the door from the Kentucky Derby when she checked her phone messages. One of her favorite local horses was in danger.
And immediately I knew who it was.
Now Parrett knew just what to do with the cash in her pocket that she'd won betting at the Kentucky Derby.
I actually went down the next day and I paid for him and hand walked him out of there and down a road in Enumclaw to a friend who happens to live around the corner from the auction yard.
I think owners in this industry, as well as trainers, feel the responsibility to find what I call second jobs for the retired racehorses.
Jack Hodge is a racehorse owner. He's also vice president of Emerald Downs, the most prestigious racetrack in the Pacific Northwest. Hodge spearheaded a fund that raises money to find new homes for some Emerald Downs horses when they can't race anymore.
This year we raised almost $10,000 from horsemen, and then Emerald matches those funds. So we had a $20,000 fund to work with.
Hodge says his track does everything it can to keep horses and riders safe, from installing the latest high-tech racing surface to banning horseshoe toe grabs that can cause injury. However, he admits racing is still a dangerous sport. In 2009, 35 horses died at tracks in Washington, most of them during races. For every death, there are many injuries. The industry doesn't keep tabs on horses after they leave the track. After all, who wants a racehorse that can't run? Ron Mariotti does.
Come on, Blue.
Mariotti is the auctioneer and owner of Enumclaw Sales Pavilion. He sells all kinds of animals, and that's his point.
Just off the track, shoes on her and all. Who'll give me 825?
They're animals.
Animal rights. There is no such thing as animal rights. There's animal welfare.
Why don't animals have rights?
Because they can't vote. They can't express an opinion. They're property. They're not people. Yellow.
Ron Mariotti will tell you he's not the villain here.
We're way more overpopulated in horses in the United States than we ever have been in history.
The reason America is awash in horses? People can't afford them in this lousy economy. But breeders are still raising new foals. At the same time, the last equine slaughterhouse in America closed in 2007. Now, homeless horses are shipped to Canada or Mexico.
They're crammed in there together, they're scared, they're biting and kicking one another, they get hurt, they are transported up to like 24 hours with no food, no water. And then once they get to the slaughterhouse, it's just a constant scene of terror until the point at which they're finally killed.
Horse meat is prized by connoisseurs in Belgium, France, and Japan. It's served tartare style in Vancouver and in Montreal, and barbecued in Enumclaw. Have you ever eaten horse meat?
Oh, heck yes. It's the thought people put in their head. You want a T-bone steak out of a steer, or you want a T-bone steak out of a horse? Oh, my golly. I couldn't eat horse meat. It's, as far as I'm concerned, it's as good as beef.
Should horse slaughter be legal in America?
Oh, my God, yes. Please bring it back. Please bring it back. That'll clean up this industry of the starvation and the ill treatment of a lot of these horses.
The Humane Society says 100,000 American horses are exported for slaughter each year. Horse advocates estimate about 10% are racehorses, most of which are killed before their 5th birthday.
That's a good boy.
Bucky's beat the odds. He just turned 5, and he's living at the horse rescue Safe in Monroe. But his retraining program demonstrates how hard it is to turn a racehorse into a pleasure pony. Right now, there are thousands of skilled horses of all breeds selling for pennies on the dollar. So it's tough to find a home for a horse that isn't trained. And Bucky doesn't even know how to be a horse.
When we first turned him out with another horse, he cowered by the gate and said, "Please get me out of here. That other horse is going to hurt me."
Racehorses don't usually hang out with other horses. Socialization is the first step in Bucky's makeover. Slam and Vanna are rescued racehorses that are going to show Bucky how to have fun.
You're free. You're free.
At first, Bucky follows their lead. But then he's more interested in our camera than other horses.
Lucky, do you have any sense? Come on.
On the ground, Bucky can be 1,200 pounds of trouble. But what matters most, what will determine this 5-year-old gelding's future, is what happens here. Horse rescuer Jaimie Taft is the first person to try to ride Bucky since he came off the track.
Trot, trot.
When Taft steps into the stirrups, there's great relief. She finds Bucky is the calmest racehorse she's worked with, and his track injuries appear to have healed with rest. It won't take long to train him for a second career.
He probably would be a great trail horse because he's very brave and he's very calm.
These women took a chance on a broken racehorse who was sold to the slaughterhouse.
I am really hopeful for his future.
Now Bucky, who really was lucky, is turning the corner and headed for home.
Good boy. Good boy. Yeah.
The Humane Society says 100,000 American horses are exported for slaughter each year. Horse advocates estimate about 10% are racehorses, most of which are killed before their 5th birthday.